and then introduce you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Commsverse. This session is called Bad Audio is Bad for Business and is presented to you by Neil Watson.
Thank you very much for that introduction. Yeah, I've just got a short session today, which afternoon for me, but depends when you're watching. Taking you through what I mean by bad audio and why it really is bad for business, and also what we can do about it. So hopefully, if the technology works, we can, yeah, there we go. So I'm from a company called Epos. Now, you will have known us under our old brand, which was Sennheiser, but we have recently rebranded, and it's really there's a real clear kind of thinking behind that. But in short, Epos is a premium performance audio brand, so we are very much aimed at delivering the best quality experience, sound experience, and communication experience for our customers, which has always been the case. But now, you know, we've gone that little bit more focused in terms of what we're about. So I'll just quickly take you through a little potted history. Now, this is a Danish slide, so it sort of goes back to front, so you have to start on the right. But Epos is actually part of the Demand Group, which is a global leader in audio. So Demand own the biggest kind of hearing aid brand in the world, and obviously, you know, that's a very precise and focused technology, and some of the skills and R&D that they've got in terms of battery life, in terms of system on a chip, in terms of what they can deliver, is quite impressive. You know, they've now got the technology that they're able to track eye movement almost with some of their technology, so they'll be able to triangulate audio pickup based on where you're looking. So yeah, it really opens your eyes and your ears to other industries that are also in audio, because I've been in the headset industry for a long time. But Demand, we're working with Sennheiser from the turn of the century, really, and Demand, which was in a joint venture with Sennheiser and Sennheiser Communications, developed all the Bluetooth tech, all the kind of on headset mic tech together with Sennheiser. So up until last year, that was a co-branded business and a co-owned business, but through a series of kind of decisions in terms of focusing both businesses on what they're good at, it was decided to really establish Epos as a new company at the end of last year. So that's where Epos is. That's what we're about. In actual fact, you know, our headsets are all co-branded Epos Sennheiser, but what we have ability now is to pull on that experience, that R&D experience of the wider Demand Group, and really kind of take the technology to the next level. And we're already beginning to see that on some of our tech. I'll come on to that. What I wanted to talk about was bad audio. I mean, that picture there kind of tells its own story with lockdown, you know, being focused, being in the task with the right audio solution makes a big difference to your effectiveness. And I think, I mean, I don't know if anyone's seen them, but you know, the interviews seem to be kind of more commonplace now, with people doing interviews with the press online at home and then getting interrupted by their children. I mean, our headsets won't really kind of block the children out of the room, but it'll block the noise. It's a real task that's kind of affecting people. So what I wanted to really address is, how do we deal with this bad audio? We can't control the environment all the time. But what we can do some things about it. So here's a little video about what we mean by bad audio.
What is the most expensive word in business today? That wasn't a question, but we'll get back to that. Because what's not only going on in there...
Can you repeat that? I can't hear you.
It's going on everywhere, all the time.
I'm trying to tell you right now.
And if it can happen here...
Hello? Hello?
It can happen anywhere.
Is this better? Can you hear me? Hello?
What? At Epos, we're on a mission to create crystal clear audio and flawless communication. A mission to put what out of business?
Sorry, what?
Maybe not all what's.
Epos, the power of audio.
So that's what we mean. We want to put what out of business, that kind of repetition, that not understanding the nuance of a conversation. Our business is all about making people be heard properly. And to that end, we did a study at just at the start of the year, over 2,500 people globally, but a big chunk of them in the UK and US, about their experiences in terms of conversations and their audio experience and environment. And there was some quite telling stats that fell out of that. So, for example, almost 70% have to spend extra time getting work done because they can't concentrate because of sound issues, or maybe they can't hear what's being said. Now, half of them get disrupted by loud colleagues. I have to admit, I mean, in an office environment, I am one of the loud colleagues, so I apologise, but it happens. 48% get just disrupted by noisy environments. We'll come on to this, but it used to be that a place of work was an office. It's not now. And it could be you're trying to hold a conversation, an important conversation, and you're in the street. How do you do that in a successful and managed way? And finally, 35% get frustrated by audio issues. So, you go in the meeting, your headset's not working, your Teams is trying to talk to the laptop speaker rather than the headset or the speakerphone. It should be seamless. For a premium audio experience, it really should be seamless for the user. And oftentimes, we think of the user too late, and we're about, changing that really. Some of the outcomes of those of bad audio is, you can actually end up with dissatisfied clients because you can misinterpret some nuances in conversation, really not understand what was being asked in a call center example, for example, and you end up with less than optimal performance, which then obviously translates to, these were the actual results of what people said in response to our survey, that 18% of them said actually, yeah, they've had financial implications because of it. Or you maybe lose some work because you didn't understand what was being required, and these are knock-on effects. And you actually, 19% of people said they actually lost business. So they, in pitches, for example, if they were doing it remotely, not being able to do it properly, it's just really important in terms of getting that brand execution across and getting your customers to understand exactly what it is you're trying to sell them. And the net result of that is, if you take the OECD average data information in the UK, the 29 minutes each week that people on average are losing to audio issues translates to £390, give or take, in the UK per person, which, that's not that's certainly the cost of a very nice headset. Multiply that by a few employees and suddenly you get to kind of really important numbers that any business is going to take seriously in terms of something it really needs to address. So it's an issue that's out there, and it's an issue that's, I think the focus is on it more now, with the fact that we're having non-physical communications far more than we ever have. I mean, it's a great catalyst for us as a business, but actually it's really making a difference, competitive advantage for businesses that are doing it right versus businesses that are doing it wrong. So all of that culminates in why we're on a mission to put bad audio out of business. And I think you have to look at it from a technology and bricks and mortar standpoint. In the past, businesses, when they were setting up, they would look at offices. Where are we going to base our place of work? What's that going to look like? How many people is it going to hold? How do we format that place? How are we going to manage data if we've got multiple offices? How do we manage data between them? Got to think about the wide area network, the local area network, the quality of service for data. If you're setting up teams, you've got to think about this stuff. Then you think about the desktop, what my user's going to need. Then finally, you think about the person. And I think in more than ever, it's important to flip that on its head. And you start with the human. And if you start with the human, you get far better, more effective communications, because you orientate the tools that they need to work most effectively around them, and then you work backwards from that point. And by effective communications, I mean that you're able to listen better, and by listening better to your customers and your colleagues, you're able to react faster and more accurately and better. So it's a cycle, you know. Is that it's not just about having good audio for good audio's sake because it sounds better, which it does, but it's about being effective ultimately. And by giving the right tools in the right scenarios, you're going to achieve that. Now, effective communication, as I say, starts with the person and their role. And really, there's three kind of key roles that you see in a business. You've got discussion-orientated roles. These are, you know, the contact center is an obvious example of that, but people that are doing their work on the phone or on Teams. You know, they're talking and talking to their customers, talking to partners, talking to other people in a disparate group, trying to get things done. So they need a device that's really going to help them in that scenario versus a flexible role that requires a bit of adaptation. You know, people that are working in all sorts of locations, working in a whole manner of different ways. Maybe they're in the car, maybe they're at the Costa Coffee. They need a device that allows them to communicate effectively, no matter where they are. And then the final one is group communications. Obviously, when you've got more than one person, it's not wearable tech anymore, it's group communications. So that's the three kind of starting points that we start with. And then that distills down to our product portfolio. So we've got the Impact range. I'm actually using that headset, actually an SDW 5000 series. And that's a kind of a real talk focused product, because it's got a boom, it's got noise cancelling mic on the boom. So in terms of challenging environments, it's always going to deliver, designed for kind of all day wear. Adapt is kind of our Bluetooth products, Bluetooth range that you can go anywhere with. So it's a different set of criteria that you need. You know, if you're somebody that's out and about, you need different tools than somebody that's based in an office or in a home office all day. And then in Expand, we've got group tools, so tools that allow more than one person to come together and communicate effectively. But if you understand, you know, the person and the different role that they're going to perform, you can start with getting them the right tool for their task. If you look at something like the Adapt product, you know, really that's aimed at a flexible worker. The kind of challenges is that they're working in a noisy environment. They need a device that's going to work on different devices, so your PC, a tablet, a mobile. They need a device that will allow them to communicate effectively on Teams, for example, with the one device. And they need something that can go with them. It needs to be portable and have a battery that's really going to last a day. Now, some of the technologies that are in this headset, the Adapt 600, which is our latest kind of flagship product, are there for a reason. So we've got hybrid active noise cancelling. And in actual fact, this headset is a world's first. It's got a machine learning algorithm built into its noise management solution. So basically, in development, we have an algorithm that has learned how to best react and manage noise patterns. So it learns what a coffee shop sounds like and how to combat that. It learns what an airplane sounds like, for example. Not a good example because you shouldn't be on your phone on an airplane, but still, you get the idea. It's got the ability to really focus in on the person that's speaking. So it learns the person's voice pattern in a sense and focuses it in on that. It knows that that's what I'm focused in on as a person talking, not anything else. Things like wind safe. So, you know, you're out and about, you're on a high street, you know, there are noise challenges that you're going to face that you need to deal with. So if you know that a person's in a role that's mobile and they're going to be called on to represent the business no matter where they are, they're going to need a headset that has the tools to really partner up with that. I mean, it's easy for me to say that. So I just got a little video which one of our partners put up on LinkedIn yesterday. So I'm just going to share a little snippet from that to really give you an idea of what that means in practice.
So I've got some background office noise I'll play, and then as I play this, we will then switch the audio from what's been recorded on the camera
to what's been recorded on the call using the built-in microphones.
So you should see the difference in the audio quality.
So hopefully you could hear that. And I think it's quite telling. I'll remove Steve because I've cut him when his eyes are closed. But you can really, it's quite a clear example there of the technology doing its job. And having the right tool is key, because in a noisy environment, you need to focus yourself, but more importantly, the customer needs to be able to understand what you're saying. And if you've got somebody that's in a communicator role, they're in a role where they're talking to customers in more a kind of a single environment, things that are important to your all-day wear. You need to be able to deal with like noisy colleagues like myself, but also you need a device that maybe works with Teams and seamlessly integrates with a desk phone solution or a mobile, and something like the product I'm wearing, and Impact 5000 does that. So, and it's got similar technologies as the Adapt. So it's got speak focus, but it's also got things like actually so does the Adapt. But the Active Guard's a key piece of tech in this environment. If you're in a call center and you have an acoustic shock or startle incident, you need technology that's going to protect the wearer from something like that. And the Epos Sennheiser tech does that in a very special way. So it doesn't clip the audio, which some other products do. It allows the person to hear what's being said. So if somebody's shouting, for example, very loudly, they'll still hear the content, but it will make it quieter. And Epos Sound is another part that's built into our tech, which is rather than just this kind of stereo environment, it mimics more like being in a room environment. So you get a far more natural audio experience for the user. And when you take away some of the visual cues and that human aspect of communication, being able to introduce as much information as possible in the audio experience really does lift things. So that product is a decked wireless product, so it's got range of, we say, up to 180 meters, but it's actually also super wideband audio. So that means that the information in that wireless signal is really detailed, so you can have a proper natural conversation rather than quite a mechanical robotic conversation. So those are the kind of technologies that come into play, and that's why our products are certified for Teams, because they are enterprise products. If you looked at the last product, the Adapt 600, that is a consumer product in terms of its look, its feel, its performance on a music side. But when you come into the office, it performs as an enterprise tool. It will seamlessly connect to Teams, and it will deliver that enterprise audio quality, which is really important for businesses in the new normal and having to communicate with customers in a completely different way. One of the other things that's critical moving forward is this Teams interoperability. So all of our Adapt products, for example, they've just been launched, have Teams baked into them. They've got a Teams button, which actually does something. It opens the Teams meeting. You can join a meeting. You can check your voicemail. And you can activate Cortana, so use voice controls on the system. So these are not just bog standard audio tools. These are enterprise grade, seamless integration with Microsoft Teams. So when you're rolling out a Teams solution, and if there's a problem, probably the first thing that Microsoft will say is, are you using certified products? And it's really important and the reason for that is that it cuts out a lot of the pain points that you're going to have with customers when they have issues with collaboration on Teams and calls. Having the right tool is going to make a difference. I mean, when people are using Apple earbuds because they're great and they sound good, and they use them in the office for a communication tool, it's not enterprise grade. You're going to suddenly have certain issues that they really shouldn't be having, and there's a solution out there. So that's where we see that our greatest role in helping customers is giving them the best tool to do their job effectively. One comment on the certification side of things is all our new products that are launching are all Teams certified. To be Teams certified, they have to historically have had a button, but all of our the majority, very nearly all of our products are will work seamlessly with Teams as well. So if you see a certified for Skype for Business headset, it will work with Teams. It's just not got the button. It's not got the it's not had that certification. But what we're doing is a lot of our enterprise products are being firmware updated to actually include team certification, so that instead of having a standard call button, it will work in the way that a Teams button would work. So is one of the things is great, use team certified products, but you can still use our Microsoft portfolio, and it will work in a very effective way for your customers and for yourself. One of the other aspects is, when you look at that kind of scenario of where do they work, how does it work, and the tech they're using, understanding and assessing effectiveness is important. So we've got a couple of tools that are really key on that. Epos Manager is a cloud piece of software that allows you to understand what's going on from an audio standpoint in your organization. You can firmware update all your products remotely, which is kind of important when people are working from home. You can understand call quality. You can understand if there's any crosstalk, any issues. You can also, from an asset management point of view, you can understand where your assets are when they were last used. So really good at pinpointing things that are going to help adoption. Oftentimes with adoption, it's a training issue. People were maybe given a poor headset in the first place, didn't like it, and now they always use their mobile phone. They're not using Teams. So you can identify users at that level and understand who is it that we need to speak to about, actually, did you know you could use this tool? You can use that. And Microsoft have some amazing tools as well. So the call quality dashboard also lets you understand what's going on in your organization. So we work on that with customers for free. So we don't charge for Epos Manager. So if you think of it as a secondary layer on top of the physical hardware, it allows you to really take control of that audio communication asset and make sure that your teams are using them effectively and they've got the right firmware for the right endpoints that they're talking with. So I think that's another part that's often overlooked, and it's another tool that we bring to market, which we think is class leading. And it's not something we charge for. So it's something that if you are in the market of headsets or speakerphones, think about how you're going to manage them. It's a really simple step that's handled with this kind of software, but it's an easy one to overlook. And then you can end up with hurdles that you shouldn't really have. We've also got some specific information on our Microsoft Teams content and interoperability. So what we've got in our booth are the documents. So we'll share that. Go and visit our booth, and you can download the files. But you can get a proper idea of which products are certified for Teams and how they work together. But we have a great working relationship with Microsoft, and we are working with them to constantly push things forward and really ensure that there's that quality of service and quality of communication for people that use Teams. And it's, as I say, it's all about putting bad audio out of business. Let's do it. The new normal should be human-centric, not play-centric. And if you understand how somebody's role demands them to communicate, then you've got a good starting point to understand what product's going to be right. If you just buy the cheapest product you can and dish that out to your entire organization, you're not going to have as effective a communication system in your business as you might. And those kind of things, are very easy to overlook. And when you think that you wear this product, it's really critical to give it the attention that you ought to. And if you give them the right tools, you're going to get better communication. You're going to have a more rounded discussion with your customers. You're going to be able to pick up on nuances that you wouldn't otherwise pick up on. And you're going to have a happier workforce and happier customers. And use the software as well to listen to the behaviors of your teams, your communication behaviors. Not in some Orwellian way, but in the sense of understanding where maybe there are issues in terms of might be signal issues. So it could be part of your building that's got lots of interference, for example. So you can really understand and just make sure that you've given them Teams, you've given them a fantastic platform to do their business. Make sure you got that last little yard from the computer to the person, and make sure that you're actually doing what's right. And if you do that, if you listen better, you're going to react faster. And ultimately, that's what the competitive advantage is about, especially in this new normal. It's about being able to really orientate your business around the customer needs and communicate effectively. And that's what Epos is all about. So thank you very much for your time today. I appreciate I have finished in record time, but I didn't want to go on for the full 45 minutes and take you into the product level, because if you want to learn more, then absolutely we want to talk to you at the booth or in a session, rather than bore you with too much tech. So that's all from me today. Thank you.
Thank you, Neil. Right now we can open it up to Q&A. If anyone has questions, right now is the best time to ask. We can go through those. Don't be shy. Don't have any questions yet, but I'll give you a couple minutes. Otherwise, we can see you at the post-session networking event.
Yeah, I'll be there. And for anyone that actually is watching this at a later date, then you can make contact with us through this Teams environment, and we will come back to you. So we are all ears. I don't want to drop a pun, but there we are. We're all ears.
Oh, a couple questions coming in. There we go. All right. Yes, don't be shy. Ask away. All right. We have a question from an anonymous user asking, which product would you recommend yourself as a glasses user?
Oh, I think it's such a, that's what I mean. You have to start with the person, because it is a wearable item. But I actually like an over-the-head headset, but I don't have hair to worry about, and I've got some very coiffured colleagues that like to keep the hair in check, so they wouldn't like that style. But I like a kind of on-ear or over-ear solution, just because I find it comfortable. But we've got all sorts of headsets. So we've got the Adapt 400, which is a neckband product, and it's got 2 earbuds. So if you're a glasses wearer and you've got kind of big frames, then you've got nothing really interfering with that. So that's a good solution. And as I say, that's why it's kind of important to give people choice. I mean, some of our customers actually, they have kind of crazy solutions, and they have like vending machines that allow their users to go and pick the headset that's right for them. So yeah, I use this, but the Adapt 400 is also a great option. Or get contact lenses.
Thank you, Neil. Got another question from Gilles Andre. I apologize if I butcher your name, but they're asking, can you tell me who to contact in Montreal, Canada to find an account manager?
Oh, off the top of my head, I'm not sure, but I can find out and let Gilles know. Are we able to? I'll be able to get Gilles' contact through this through the chat, won't I? And let Gilles know that way.
Yeah.
There is certainly an account manager that looks after that territory, so I will. I'll put you in touch.
And Gil, you feel free to also message Neil directly in chat as well. I think you can do that. All right. We have another question from Imra. And they're asking, can we get the details of this market report around bad audio to download?
Absolutely, yes. Good question. So the survey that I was referencing, which actually it's a good read. Often they're quite dry, but this was actually really well put together, and it's current and it's valid. That is available on our website, but also I will put it on our booth to make it easy for you guys to come and download it. It's a PDF. It's about a dozen pages. So yeah, it's good reading. We'll make sure that's available.
Great. Any more questions? But nothing new. Going once, going twice. All right, if that is all, then we would love to see you in our networking session. I posted the link here in the announcements, and we'll see you there. Thank you.
Thanks, Jesse.
Thank you, Neil. Thank you, everyone, for attending.